Hello, this is Spring News with the series of Spring interviews. Today our guest is Matthew Gera, the Commercial Director of RubyPlay, an internationally renowned iGaming company specializing in the design and creation of slots. We are going to talk about game creation techniques and industry trends, and we'll have the opportunity to listen to expert advice that will be very helpful for market entrants. Hello, Matthew.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure to have you at the studio. How do you do tonight?
Very good, very good.
Wonderful.
I always love to come to Armenia, so.
Nice to hear that.
Yes.
Have you ever had the opportunity to travel in Armenia? Or?
Well, I'm lucky enough, to be married to an Armenian.
Oh,
so,
wonderful.
I come here quite often.
Nice hearing that. Wonderful. Yeah. So, there's a famous quote, "An hour of a play will tell you more about a person than a year of conversation." What can an hour of play tell you about a person?
Yes, well, I suppose, especially myself, when I go into a land-based casino with all the stimulation out there, you get to experience the raw experience of a person. So within an hour, we would know the player, obviously. They would understand you put your barriers down. Okay, when you win, okay, you're like a little child, you're going to be kind of bloating, and then when it doesn't go your way, you have a couple of tantrums, and especially with the stimulation, out there, you put your peripherals and filters, just go out of the door. So you would be able to know the player within an hour.
Well, actually, I experienced something like that at Monaco Casino when I entered first time in my life. So, are you a gamer? Can you tell us more about your hobbies?
Absolutely, and I believe, obviously, to be in an industry, in any industry, you kind of have to be an advocate. Okay, although I do like to go into a land-based as opposed to online, but the feeling and the metric is kind of similar over there. So yes, I do play.
And how do you check the quality of your products? Well,
it's really a perspective. So I need to understand that the maths, is more congruent, obviously, towards myself as a player, and there's no real procedure in this, Obviously, innovations and ideas come from everywhere, right? But you also need to be honest that not every game is going to be successful, and all you can do is try your best. There are the fundamentals which you build up on, but ideas are from everywhere. So this is what we kind of check to do our best in the next game and the games after.
But whenever you create one, aren't you thinking about the success of that product?
Absolutely. So when we look at the fundamentals, we're looking at the design, we're looking at the mathematics, we're looking at what the trend is in the industry, which type of markets we're entering, and so forth, which works really best over there. So if you had to go, for example, into Brazil, more often than not, you would think, crash games are doing extremely well there as opposed to slots. So each market does matter, what kind of players, a demographic in that region there are, and you try to build upon that. Anybody that has been long enough in the industry, sometimes you build this fantastic game, you've got all the maths over there, you've got all the old designs in that type of industry or that market, and you think it's going to be a success. And it isn't. And then you build a generic game, and what happens, and you're scratching your head, how is this game doing really well? So ideas come from everywhere. The fundamentals will be there, that you need to build the game. But it's not like a sort of procedural metric that you kind of have how can I call it? You kind of have a booklet explaining to you what's going to happen in the next industry, and if you do this game, it's going to be really successful.
All right, if we try to simplify this question, can we tell steps which are needed for creating a high-demand game?
Okay, so depending on the market that you're in, obviously you're looking at the type of mats that you need to create, the type of design. Obviously, certain features and the themes of the games will matter. Okay, in each type of industry. Sorry, not industry, in market. From there, you build upon obviously a successful game. From that successful game, you can also kind of copy it or reskin it, okay, to make sure it's successful. One of the things that actually works from our experience or from my experience in the industry was, let's say you have a game that works well for an operator, okay? And it doesn't mean it works for the market, but it works for the operator. Sometimes we have that. The game is just successful for their players in their ecosystem. So what we try to do is we get information from the operators because they obviously are facing the customers as much as possible, more than we are, right? They know that they're players. So what we do is when we offer bespoke games. Now this bespoke game could be a simple reskin or all the way, to creating a whole new mat model.
Yeah.
Okay. And we've been very successful with that so far. So we had a very successful game that was working within their ecosystem and also around. And we created one, for example, at the top of my head is just reskin it. The operator advises, listen, if we do this type of theme, this type of tweaking. So it's communication back and forth with the operator. So sometimes even as a game provider, you think is the best thing, but it might really not. You need to listen to the operators. Okay, it's very, very important. And it showed a lot of success. What
are the recent changes in online casino players' demographics and maybe preferences?
Well, obviously there's the generational change. Okay, there are younger players coming.
And what do they want more?
Well, it's game of chance. Okay, now we as humans, okay, since the dawn of time, okay, had this type of desire, okay, and it's not going to change. Exactly, it's not going to change, and I don't think it's going to change ever, okay, as long as there's human living on the planet Earth. So now you can look at the macro and you can look at the micro. Okay, so there's the changes where you can see a lot happening at the moment is in regulated markets. So regulated markets, there are certain limitations that you can do, okay, to be compliant in that regulation. So the changes that we saw, okay, and it has been happening, you don't see the normal player, okay, very more volatile, okay, certain markets, okay, limit providers with bet limits and so forth. So you're kind of finding a bit of a limitation on what you can do in those type of markets, okay? So it's more controllable, okay, at the end of the day. And then you can go into raw markets, okay, such as, the LATAM, South Africa and so forth, where you find that those type of players are more engaged with in-game jackpots. And then if you had to go even deeper, like in Brazil, which I've mentioned before, crash games is a must. So if you really want to penetrate the market over there with your portfolio, you need to adapt to that.
Yeah. Okay. What trends will shape the future of the online casino industry?
Well, trends, innovations are coming and going. Okay, trends are constantly changing. There's a lot of, buzzwords out there, but, the two major ones, okay, that I'm seeing quite a lot of feedback from, from colleagues, friends, and also operators, is one of them is virtual reality.
Yeah.
Okay, it used to be a buzzword before, but now there's actually products. Okay, there are products that are actually there for players, and that's growing. So that could be an emerging trend even more. And then in markets, in certain markets, there's quite a lot, a huge trends. I mean, we get so much requests at the moment, okay, on crash games.
Yeah.
So that's another trend that needs to be, considered moving forward if any provider wants to, maximize the market as much as possible. But trends are always emerging, and especially with generations, you need to adapt to that. Nowadays, a younger generation, I think virtual reality will really work because, they need more stimulation, they need more excitement, okay, sort of, but at the same time, they will be able to play slots also.
Yeah. Are there any key points for success in this business for you?
Key points?
Yeah.
Okay, so there are four what I believe, okay, is a must for a provider. So there's a difference between being an operator and a platform. We're a provider at the moment. Is the compliance. You need to have a very strong compliance team, especially, to generate the reach, okay, globally, because nowadays everything is regulated.
Yeah.
The technical aptitude, the response time and how your ecosystem, okay, technically is advanced, okay, gives you a competitive edge. And the obvious one, which should be the first one, is the product.
Yeah.
Okay. But not only games. The product involves tools and so forth, to enhance the player satisfaction. And the other one is the commercial aptitude. Nowadays we've seen that there are some fantastic providers out there with really good games. Okay. But the technical aptitude or the commercial team, okay, or the commercial offer, or the way that they engage, okay, with the operator. I hear a lot of operators that tell me, listen, I'm not working with that provider anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So that's in itself a product, okay, and how you engage with your clients. And then there are others that the commercial team is really fantastic, but the product isn't that good.
Yeah.
Right. So it's if you want to remain in the competitive edge, you need to have these four, especially in a very, 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 very competitive landscape that we are in at the moment.
Thank you, Matthew, for a wonderful interview and interesting. I guess we are done with this.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. My guest is Matthew Gera, the Commercial Director of RubyPlay. Join us next time.